am being a total daredevil today because I just shut off my air conditioning in my New York City apartment, so the sound wouldn't be annoying for you guys in the background of this video, and it is 95 degrees today. And cue the motorcycle. So here in the city I have a really close-knit group of friends that we all came here together from college for the summer and are going back to college in the fall, but I'm living with one of my best friends, Julia. I actually have a vlog going up tomorrow incorporating her and showing you guys around our apartment and around the city, and I'll be vlogging all summer, so I put a whole vlog together of my first week in the city and it's going live tomorrow. Side note, but basically I've been living with my friends this summer in the city, and the other day we were getting dinner at this taco place, which was fucking amazing, and we were talking about the idea of dating apps. And I've been such a cynic all this time, so anti-dating app, like, oh, I'll never join one of those, whatever. But then a friend of mine convinced me to download Bumble, and I grudgingly, complied, and I was like, yeah, okay, I'll make a profile, I guess, like, okay, we'll see what happens. And then I fell in love. I'm going to be totally candid with you guys because I feel like we're on that level where we can be candid with each other. I didn't fall in love with anyone in particular. I fell in love with that feeling you get when you get a match. It's like getting a mushroom in Mario Kart, or when they accidentally give you 2 medium fries for McDonald's rather than 1 medium fry for McDonald's, in your bag by accident, and you just, you drive off anyway even though you know that you should probably give it back. Yeah, that is the feeling that I get when I get a match on Bumble. If you guys don't know what Bumble is, by the way, I guess I should have said this. Bumble is a dating app where it's basically like Tinder, if you guys are, aware of what that is. You see photos of eligible bachelors, at least for me, because I'm on the guy interface because I like guys. You see a guy's picture, you see a little short bio, you can swipe left if you don't like them, or right if you do like them. So the other day I was on Bumble and I matched with this really freaking attractive guy that lives like 0.4 miles from me here in New York. So I'm like, okay, this could be something. This could be the start of something new. Cue High School Musical song. Vanessa Hudgens will always be my girl crush. Yes. I forgot to say this, but on Bumble, the girl has to make the first move. So if you and the guy both swipe right on each other, the girl has 24 hours to make the first move, or the match expires and you can't chat them unless you like premium or whatever. But who pays premium for Bumble? Let's be real. Okay. So anyway, I was hovered over my keyboard on my phone and I was like, okay, what can I say, that'll make me come across as cool, but also intelligent, but also, sexy, but also can be taken home to mom, but also, wouldn't be coming on too strong, but also wouldn't make them run, like what can I say that's perfect and makes me seem, cool? And I was sitting there, wrestling over this in my mind, when I could have been thinking about so many other things, so many, things that are going on in the world today, but of course I was, investing all of my energy into formulating a Bumble message. Like what? And classic, this whole thing, got me thinking, I have this really crazy fear of coming on too strong. And it isn't just romantically. In all of my relationships, I'm always worried about being too much, like complaining too much, or, being too excited about something, or just, in general, just coming off too strong, texting too many times, being too clingy in a relationship. As I was pondering this, probably making the funniest thinking face ever, because I always imagine that I'm sitting in the park making the weirdest fucking faces because I'm so just like in my head about certain things. So there I was on a park bench in Washington Square Park, jotting down all of these ideas. Why are we so worried about being too much and being too heavy? Why are we so worried about being too blank? Like, when did that ever start? In the park, I have this one bench that I always gravitate towards. I always end up sitting on the same bench, or like relatively the same bench, because sometimes people take it, and I'm like, what gives, guys? I should like put my name on it or something. Do not sit here, Katie's bench, I always end up sitting in this one bench, okay? And it's actually strategically placed right across from a jungle gym of kids and a dog park, which means there's a lot of people watching. And no, I'm not a pervert and I'm not a creeper. I like seeing faces and, inventing stories in my head about what people are up to in their lives and, what professions they have and who they're in love with and stuff like that. And someday I'll actually write a book or something. So as I was thinking about this concept of being too much and being too heavy and coming on too strong, I was sitting right across from that jungle gym full of kids. I was staring, like nowhere in particular, but just at their movements, at their mannerisms, at all of that stuff combined. And I was thinking, when we were kids, we never once considered the concept of being too much. When you're a kid, it's almost like the more extra you are, the better. The more times you answer questions in elementary school classrooms, like the cooler you were, and like the more finger paints you had all over yourself, and the more, food you had for lunch. More coming on too strong was basically a good thing back in grade school. Little kids don't have a filter. They don't think before they leap. They just do. They just speak with no filter. And that could be, arguably the best and worst thing about these kids. And parents will argue it's the worst, but I also kind of feel like it's the best because they haven't been tainted by the world yet. There's that quote that I always think about, like, who were you before the world told you who you should be? My friends, we were all that screaming, snotty-nosed kid that, says exactly what comes to mind. We were those kids once. We didn't have a fear in the world. But what happened? As a kid, you could be in the most formal environment, like in a church, you know, sitting in a pew at church. One inner working of your mind says, I'm hungry, you bet your tiny cup of juice that kid's gonna start screaming so the whole church hears and the heavens above. But never has that kid stopped to ponder, you know, like, am I coming on too strong with this? No, they just scream. So when did we develop this fear of being too much? I think it varies from person to person because we all have so many different experiences and things that have shaped us as humans. But for me in particular, I think that my fear of being too much and being too heavy and coming on too strong stems from another fear of mine, which is rejection. And believe me, like, I have felt that fear of rejection so many times in my life, as we all have. The first pinpointed time where I felt rejection was in 3rd grade. I put all my chutzpah out there and I auditioned to be the Purple Fairy in our production of Pinocchio, and I was declined because I have absolutely no singing ability and I have 2 left feet, so I don't blame the director, Miss Krewald. It is okay, you know. I moved on to talking to a camera instead. I feel rejection every single time I go into a dressing room and I try on a pair of jeans. The other day I read this quote by my favorite poet on Instagram. If you guys aren't already following him, you need to. Like, get out your phone right now and follow this guy. His name is R.H. Sin. But one of the quotes he posted was, "You'll be too much woman for every man until you meet your soulmate." We've manufactured this concept in our head that, oh, maybe they're busy, oh, maybe their phone broke, you know, oh, like, there's definitely a reason why they didn't get back to me. I said it in one of my recent videos, like, someday you're gonna be the sun, moon, and stars for some person. And they, you know, would kill to get a text from you. No response is a response. That's just on the romantic side of things. You know, in terms of just everyday people, and maybe not people you're romantically interested in, but just everyone, you will be too much for some people, but those are not your people. I've certainly been too much for some people in my life. I was brutally bullied in high school. I received, you know, death threats and like stuff like that. You know, people were just downright fucking cruel to me, and it really did shape me as a person. Don't get me wrong, like, I am thankful for my haters because they made me stronger. You know, would I have wished that I wasn't bullied in high school? Yeah, because, you know, who wishes to be bullied? No one wants that. But those people just thought I was too much. You know, they thought I was too, you know, out there with my videos, too annoying, too whatever. I don't know what they thought of me. I don't really care at this point, but those were not my people. I made some pretty darn genuine friends in high school. You know, those weren't my people, but I found people that didn't think I was too much, but thought that I was perfect just the way I was. Direct shout out to the boy in high school who didn't give 2 shits about me. You know, I wasn't too much for you. You were too little for me. Shade. Really listen to me when I say this. Never, ever dilute yourself for someone who can't handle you at 100 proof. You are not shitty tequila. You are Patron. Never let anyone treat you like you are diluted, disgusting ass tequila. Okay? Never. You will always be too much for someone in this life. Every single situation you'll be in. You'll either be, you know, too loud or too quiet or too opinionated or too neutral or too something. But as Samantha Jones in season 4 of Sex and the City says, honey, if I worried about what every bitch in New York said about me, I would never leave the house. If we stopped in our tracks every single time we offended someone, every time we came on too strong and were too much for someone, we wouldn't have a life. You know, we wouldn't live. We wouldn't truly even move. You know, but our true friends and our true people and our true, you know, soulmates in this life will never, ever ask us to dilute ourselves. Will never ask us to be quiet and to change, or will never not answer our texts and stop talking to us when we are coming on too strong. I am very famous for coming on camera and basically saying, here are all my flaws. But one of my strengths that I will highlight in this video is the fact that I'm very good at apologizing when I'm wrong. And I can't really do anything dishonest without, you know, having to address it or, you know, feeling like I need to apologize whenever I do something wrong. So oftentimes, you know, I get kind of caught up in things and I apologize for being me, because I feel like I'm doing something wrong when I'm not. Apologize for when you're wrong, apologize for when you upset someone or make someone feel sad, but don't ever apologize for being yourself and for doing something that you feel is in your character and is right. I'm all about apologies, you know, sorry for being late, sorry for hitting your mailbox with my car, sorry for eating all your leftovers when I was drunk, but you get the picture. But never apologize for being yourself. Whenever you get caught up in thinking, oh, I'm too much, like I'm coming on too strong with this, like, oh, I'm being too out there, I can't just walk up to a group of people and be like, hi, I'm Katie, nice to meet you. You know, if you ever think you're coming on too strong in any way, shape, or form, first of all, you're not. If you're doing something that's true to you, you're not coming on too strong. Second of all, if you say or do something, which is the first step, you know, action is the first step. If the people you're conducting this action towards don't appreciate it, then those aren't your people. There are people for every person in this world. You just have to have the strength and the courage to find them. they might not be the first people you come into contact with. Like, there are so many people in my life that I'm no longer friends with, or no longer, you know, as close with as I used to be, because they just weren't my people. I read this quote somewhere, like, you become most like the 5 or so people that you hang out with most. You know, the people I spend time with are people that I genuinely think make me a better person, and that I hope that I make them a better person too, you know. It goes hand in hand. It's a two-way street being a friend. And so I encourage you that if you're in a relationship or a friendship where you feel like you are too much and you have to quiet yourself down and shrink to make them feel better, feel more comfortable, it's toxic. That's not where you're supposed to be. And so that, my friends, is my video entitled I'm Too Heavy. Please make sure you guys go into the down bar below and click on the post that inspired this video, which is on my blog, thekatyproject.com. So anyway, that is my video. I hope you guys all enjoyed, and if you did, please leave me a nice little comment below, because I do really live for your comments and I read them all and I'm obsessed with all of you. You guys keep me going, you truly do, and I know every YouTuber says this, but I really, really do live for your comments and your words of support and your words of criticism too, because, you know, we're always improving and growing. So thank you guys so much for your continued support, and that is all for this video. So I'll see you guys all tomorrow in my next video. So be sure to check that out, and I'll talk to you guys all later. Bye!